Hi everybody, it's Dr. Michele Drake, and I'm here to talk to you today about some parasite control.
All right, Dr. Drake, why is it important to deworm my dog?
So many puppies come to us with parasites, and so all puppies should have a very vigorous deworming protocol because not only are these detrimental to your puppy, but they are also zoonotically can be transmitted to your children or your family members. So it's really important that we control parasites.
What are some of the parasites found in dogs and how are they treated?
So some of the most common parasites we find in dogs are roundworm, hookworm, whipworm, tapeworms, and Giardia is an intestinal parasite that we find also. They're all three treated a little bit differently. Roundworm, hookworm, whipworm, we generally use one particular type of medication. We use something else for tapeworms, and again, something else for coccidia. So really it is important that we identify what the parasites are with a fecal test, and then we treat accordingly.
How do intestinal parasites impact the health and well-being of my dog?
Yeah, so intestinal parasites are a constant drain on your pet's system. So certainly we see things like diarrhea, in severe cases anemia, they can be passing worms, and just intestinal upset. I've seen dogs get a blockage in their intestines from very severe parasite loads. So they're not nice and we should get rid of them.
What are some signs and symptoms of intestinal parasites in my dog?
So many parasites have learned how to be in your dog's system without you even knowing about it, and that's being a parasite. But if the load is bad, or if it's a puppy and they're young and or an older animal, what we'll see are signs of like diarrhea, just gastrointestinal upset, sometimes vomiting. You can see them actually pass the worms in their stool, which is disgusting. And weakness, or even a pot belly if the parasite's load is very high and the protein levels in the body go down. They'll get that like pot belly appearance also.
Would I be able to see worms in my dog's stool?
You can see tapeworms in your dog's stool immediately after the stool is passed. They'll actually inch their way off. When they have high loads of roundworms, you will see a lot of roundworms in the stool, but that's usually after a really high load. So quite often what they pass are just eggs, which are microscopic, which is why we do a fecal check on your dog.
How will a veterinarian diagnose intestinal parasites in my dog?
Yeah, so generally with puppies, we like to check their stool a couple times, and that's because they can pass them and then not pass the eggs. So we like to check a couple times. What we do is we take a fecal sample, which is we need enough stool that's like the size of a walnut, and we send it off to a lab, or you can do it in-house also, and we're going to determine what type of parasite is in the stool, and we'll treat accordingly.
Why is early detection and diagnosis of intestinal parasites in dogs so important?
Well, remember that parasites are actually feeding off your dog's body, so that's not healthy for them. But in addition, parasites can be transmitted to humans, and so we want those to be removed as soon as possible.
What is the difference between natural remedies or over-the-counter dewormers compared to prescription medications?
So there's really not any natural remedies that work. Over-the-counter ones, quite often I've seen some of them cause some pretty severe diarrhea, cramping. One in particular I think of that is still sold over the counter in pet stores. It's just meant to just like cause severe cramping and severe diarrhea, but does not necessarily kill the parasites. And so what you get at your veterinarian is the appropriate dose, a very safe medication, and something that's completely effective.
Last question. How do I choose the right dewormer for my dog?
Well, I would recommend that you let your veterinarian choose that, and it should be determined upon if they're puppies. We're going to do a general deworming, but there are some parasites we're not going to just deworm for unless we find them in the stool. So we're going to do some basic deworming, but we're also going to do a fecal sample, and if they have additional parasites, we're going to add other medications into it. So if you have any other questions about parasites, give us a call at the Drake Center.